Have you ever felt completely lost in a new place? Your heart racing, palms sweating, not knowing where to turn? That happened to me in Tokyo. I couldn't speak Japanese. I was alone. And then something magical happened that changed how I see language learning forever. Stay with us because today we're sharing a story that might just transform your entire approach to learning English. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Talk, Learn, Teach. I'm Monica, and I'm so happy you're here with us today.
And I'm Marcus. It's wonderful to have you joining us for another episode. We've got something really special planned today.
Before we jump into our story, we want to ask you something important. If you love learning English, if you enjoy real conversations and heartfelt stories, please hit that subscribe button right now. Share this channel with your friends, your classmates, anyone who's on this English learning journey with you.
Absolutely. Your support helps us create more content like this. Every subscription, every share, it means the world to us. We're building a community here, and we want you to be part of it.
All right, Marcus, are you ready to tell our listeners about the incredible journey we're exploring today?
I am so ready, Monica. Today we're talking about something I call the lost tourist moment. It's about those times when everything goes wrong, when you feel completely helpless because of language barriers, and how those moments can actually become your greatest teachers.
Ooh, I love this topic. I think every language learner has experienced that moment of panic when they realize they can't communicate something important.
Exactly, and that's where our story begins. Let me take you back to 3 years ago. I was visiting Barcelona for the first time. I had studied Spanish for maybe 6 months. Very basic stuff: numbers, greetings, how to order coffee. I thought I was prepared, but you weren't. Not even close. So picture this. It's my second day in Barcelona. Beautiful sunny morning. I decided to take the metro to visit Park Güell. Simple plan, right? I had my phone, I had Google Maps, everything seemed fine.
I sense a but coming here.
Oh yes, a big but. So I get on the metro, I'm feeling confident, feeling like a real traveler. Then suddenly my phone dies, completely dead. No warning, no low battery notification, just black screen.
Oh no, that's everyone's nightmare when traveling.
And here's where it gets worse. I realized I had gotten on the wrong train. I was heading in the complete opposite direction. And the metro station where I got off, it was in a neighborhood where nobody spoke English.
What did you do?
I panicked at first. I'm not gonna lie, Monica. My heart was racing. I felt like a little kid who got separated from their parents at a shopping mall. I had no phone, no map, no idea where I was, and I could barely speak Spanish.
That must have been so scary.
It was, but then something interesting happened. I had a choice to make. I could either stand there feeling helpless, or I could try to communicate with the people around me using whatever Spanish I knew.
And you chose to try?
I chose to try. And this is where the real lesson begins. I walked up to an elderly woman sitting on a bench. My hands were shaking. I said in very broken Spanish, "Por favor, necesito ayuda. No sé dónde estoy."
Which means, please, I need help. I don't know where I am.
Exactly. And you know what happened? This woman, she smiled at me. Not a mocking smile, but a kind, understanding smile. She didn't speak any English, but she could see I was lost and scared.
That's so touching.
She started asking me questions in Spanish. Where did I want to go? Where was I staying? And here's the thing, Monica. I didn't understand every single word she said. Maybe I understood 30%, 40% at most.
But you kept trying?
I kept trying. I used hand gestures, I drew pictures on a piece of paper, I used the few Spanish words I knew in creative ways. When I didn't know the word for park, I said place with trees and beautiful things. When I couldn't remember how to say hotel, I described it as the building where I sleep.
That's actually brilliant. You were using the language you had instead of worrying about the language you didn't.
Exactly. And that woman, she understood me. Not because my Spanish was perfect, but because I was willing to communicate. She called over her grandson who knew a little bit of English, and together the three of us figured out how to get me back to my hotel.
What a beautiful example of human connection transcending language barriers.
But the story doesn't end there. That experience taught me something profound about language learning. For months before that trip, I had been so focused on grammar rules, on perfect pronunciation, on not making mistakes.
And that focus on perfection was actually holding you back.
Completely holding me back. I was so afraid of saying something wrong that I barely practiced speaking at all. I would rehearse sentences in my head over and over, trying to make them perfect before I said them out loud.
I think so many of our listeners can relate to that feeling.
And you know what I realized while standing in that metro station in Barcelona? Nobody cares if you make mistakes. What people care about is that you're trying. They care about the effort, the courage, the willingness to connect.
That's such an important insight, Marcus. Can we break this down a bit more for our listeners? What exactly did that experience teach you?
Well, first, it taught me about resourcefulness. When you don't have all the words you need, you learn to work with what you have. You become creative. You use gestures, expressions, context clues.
It's like being an artist with a limited palette. You find ways to create the full picture, even with fewer colors.
Yes, that's a perfect analogy. And second, it taught me about confidence. Not the fake confidence of pretending you know everything, but the real confidence of knowing that even with limited skills, you can still communicate and connect with others.
Can you give our listeners some specific examples of how you became more resourceful with language?
Sure. So after Barcelona, I started practicing something I call descriptive communication. Instead of getting stuck because I don't know one specific word, I describe around it.
Can you show us an example?
Absolutely. Let's say I'm in a restaurant and I want to order chicken, but I forget the word chicken. Instead of giving up or pulling out my phone to translate, I might say, I want the bird meat, the white meat, not beef, not pork.
That's such a practical approach. And you know what? It works. Plus, it often leads to really fun conversations. People enjoy helping you find the right word. It creates a moment of connection instead of a moment of embarrassment. I love that reframing. It's not embarrassing to not know a word, it's an opportunity to connect with someone.
Exactly. And here's another thing I learned from that Barcelona experience. Sometimes our biggest breakthroughs come from our most uncomfortable moments.
That's so true. When everything is comfortable and easy, we don't really grow, do we?
We don't. Growth happens in the struggle. And for English learners listening right now, I want you to understand something important. Every time you feel uncomfortable speaking English, every time you stumble over words, every time you make a mistake, you're actually in the perfect place for learning.
That's a powerful perspective shift. Marcus, what would you say to someone who's listening right now and thinking, but I'm too scared to make mistakes? What if people laugh at me?
I would say this. First, most people won't laugh, truly. Most people will admire your courage for trying. Think about it. If someone came to you speaking broken English, trying their best to communicate, would you laugh at them?
Of course not. I'd try to help them.
Exactly. And that's how most humans are. We want to help each other. We want to connect. The fear of being laughed at is almost always bigger in our minds than the reality.
And even if someone does react negatively?
Then that's their problem, not yours. Someone who mocks another person for trying to learn is revealing their own character, not yours. Don't give that kind of person power over your learning journey.
Absolutely. Your learning journey is yours. Don't let anyone steal your courage.
And Monica, you've had your own lost tourist moment, haven't you?
Oh, boy, have I. Mine was in Tokyo, which I mentioned at the beginning. Do you want to hear that story?
Our listeners definitely want to hear it.
Okay, so this was about 5 years ago. I was in Tokyo for a work conference. I had learned exactly 0 Japanese before going, not even hello or thank you.
Really? Nothing at all?
Nothing. I figured everyone in Tokyo would speak English because it's such a big international city. Sheepishly, I was very wrong about that assumption.
What happened?
So one evening, I decided to explore the city on my own. I wandered away from the touristy areas and found myself in a small neighborhood. Everything was beautiful. The little shops, the quiet streets, the traditional houses. Then I realized I was hungry. I saw a small restaurant that looked amazing. There was steam coming from the windows, I could smell incredible food, and I thought, perfect, I'll eat here.
But they didn't have an English menu?
They didn't have pictures, they didn't have English, they didn't have anything I could understand. And when I walked in, the owner, this lovely elderly man, greeted me in Japanese. I just stood there like a deer in headlights.
What did you do?
I did the only thing I could think of. I smiled, pointed to my stomach, and made eating gestures with my hands. I literally pretended to use chopsticks in the air.
That's amazing.
The owner laughed, not at me, but with genuine warmth. He seemed to understand. He gestured for me to sit down, and then he brought me food. And, Marcus, it was the best meal I had in Tokyo. But here's the beautiful part. While I was eating, the owner sat down with me. He pulled out his phone, and we used a translation app, but mostly we just communicated through gestures, smiles, and the universal language of food appreciation.
That's such a beautiful example of human connection.
It really was. And by the end of the meal, he had taught me how to say delicious in Japanese, which is oishi. I must have said it 20 times, and he laughed every single time.
And I bet you still remember that word today.
Of course I do. And that's the magic of these moments, Marcus. When you learn language through real experience, through emotion, through connection, it sticks with you forever. That experience taught me something crucial about language learning. It's not about memorizing textbooks or getting perfect scores on tests. It's about being willing to put yourself in situations where you have to communicate, even when it's uncomfortable.
It's about embracing the messiness of real communication.
Yes, and you know what else? After that dinner, I spent the rest of my trip in Tokyo actively trying to learn basic Japanese phrases, not because I had to, but because I wanted to connect with people better.
That's the key difference, isn't it? When you're motivated by connection rather than perfection, learning becomes joyful instead of stressful.
Exactly. So for our listeners, I want to share some practical ways you can create your own lost tourist moments, even if you're not traveling.
Ooh, I love this. What are your suggestions?
First, find situations where you have to use English, even if it's scary. Join an English conversation club, even if you think your English isn't good enough. Start speaking with other learners online. Go to events where English is spoken.
Creating situations where you can't rely on your native language?
Exactly. When you remove the safety net, you force yourself to be resourceful, and that's when real learning happens. Second, practice describing things without using the exact word. This is such a powerful exercise. Look around your room right now. Pick an object. Try to describe it without saying its name.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. Let's say I'm looking at a lamp. Instead of saying lamp, I might say it's the thing that gives light when it's dark. You turn it on with a switch. It sits on a table or desk.
And this helps build your descriptive vocabulary?
It does. Plus, it teaches you to think flexibly about language. You realize there are always multiple ways to express an idea. Third, and this is really important, record yourself speaking English. I know it feels awkward at first, but it's so valuable.
Why is that so helpful?
Because when you listen back, you can hear yourself without the pressure of a conversation happening in real time. You notice where you hesitate, where you repeat yourself, where you struggle, and then you can practice those specific areas.
So it's like being your own teacher.
Exactly. You become aware of your own patterns, both good and bad, and awareness is the first step to improvement.
Monica, can we talk about something that I think a lot of learners struggle with? The voice in your head that says, your English isn't good enough yet. Wait until you're better before you try to speak.
Oh, that voice. I know it well. And I want to tell everyone listening right now, that voice is lying to you.
It really is.
Your English is good enough right now. Today, this moment. It might not be perfect, but perfect isn't the goal. Communication is the goal.
And the only way to get better at communicating is to communicate.
Yes, you can't wait to go swimming until you're good at swimming. It doesn't make sense. Exactly. You have to get in the water to learn how to swim. You have to speak English to learn how to speak English.
Can we give our listeners a challenge, something they can do right after they finish listening to this episode?
I love that idea. Okay, here's the challenge. Before the end of today, have one conversation in English. It can be with a friend, a language partner online, even talking to yourself in the mirror.
And the rule is you can't stop to look up words. You have to work with what you already know.
Right. Use gestures, use descriptions, use creative combinations of simple words, but keep the conversation flowing. Don't let not knowing one word stop you.
And after you do it, notice how you feel. Notice what you learned about yourself.
Because I guarantee you'll surprise yourself. You know more English than you think you do. You're more capable than you give your credit for.
You really are. Every person listening right now has the ability to communicate in English. You just have to give yourself permission to be imperfect.
And speaking of being imperfect, can we talk about the beauty of mistakes?
Oh yes, let's do that.
Mistakes are not failures. They're information. Every mistake tells you something valuable about what you need to practice.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Let's say you're telling a story and you say, "Yesterday I go to the market." You meant to say went, but you said go. That's not a disaster. That's just information that you need to practice past tense verbs.
And the person you're talking to probably still understood you completely.
Almost certainly. Context makes communication incredibly forgiving. When you say yesterday, people know you're talking about the past, even if the verb tense is wrong.
So mistakes rarely actually prevent communication.
Very rarely. Most mistakes are small bumps in the road, not walls that stop everything. But we treat them like walls because we're so afraid of them.
What would happen if we celebrated mistakes instead of fearing them?
Oh, everything would change. Imagine if every time you made a mistake, instead of feeling embarrassed, you felt excited because you just identified something new to learn.
That would be revolutionary for language learners.
It would. And you know what? Some of my best language learning memories involve mistakes. I remember once in a French cafe, I tried to say I was excited about something, but I accidentally used a word that made it sound like I was physically aroused.
Oh no.
The waiter's face turned bright red, and I realized immediately I'd said something wrong. But we both laughed, he taught me the correct word, and now I will never forget the difference.
That's a lesson you learned for life.
Exactly. And that's the thing about mistakes. The ones that make you laugh or make you uncomfortable are actually the ones that stick in your memory the strongest.
So embracing those uncomfortable moments is actually a gift to your learning?
It absolutely is. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Every time you feel uncomfortable, remind yourself, this is where I'm learning the most.
Monica, we're coming up on our time, but before we wrap up, I want to ask you something. What's the one piece of advice you'd give to someone who's listening right now and feeling discouraged about their English learning journey?
I would say this. Your journey is yours alone. Don't compare yourself to other learners. Don't measure yourself against native speakers. The only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday.
That's beautiful.
And remember why you started learning English in the first place. Was it to get a perfect score on a test? Probably not. It was probably to connect with people, to access information, to open up new opportunities in your life. Keep that why in your heart. When you feel frustrated or discouraged, come back to that reason. Remember that every word you learn, every conversation you have, every mistake you make is bringing you closer to that goal.
And you're not alone on this journey. Every English learner has felt what you're feeling. We've all been lost and confused. We've all made embarrassing mistakes.
And we've all survived. We've all kept going. And that's what matters. Not perfection, but perseverance.
Keep showing up, keep trying, keep speaking. Your future self will thank you for not giving up.
Absolutely. And to everyone listening, I want you to know that we believe in you. Marcus and I, we see you. We understand your struggles because we've lived them.
And we're here to support you every step of the way. That's why we create these episodes, to remind you that you can do this.
You really can. So before we say goodbye today, let's do one more thing. Marcus, can we talk about the lost tourist moment they might be facing right now?
What do you mean?
Well, maybe someone listening right now is in their own lost tourist moment with English. Maybe they feel lost, confused, overwhelmed. Maybe they don't know where to go next on their English learning journey.
Ah, I see what you mean. Yes, let's talk to them directly.
If that's you, if you're feeling lost right now, here's what I want you to know. That feeling is normal. It's part of the process. And just like I found my way in Tokyo, just like Marcus found his way in Barcelona, you will find your way in English.
The key is to not stand still in that lost moment. Take one small step forward. Speak one sentence. Learn one new word. Just keep moving.
And trust that the path will reveal itself as you walk it. You don't need to see the whole journey. You just need to take the next step.
That's all any of us can do, one step at a time.
One word at a time. One conversation at a time. One day at a time.
And before you know it, you'll look back and realize how far you've come.
You'll have your own Barcelona story, your own Tokyo story, your own moment when everything clicked and you realized you could do this.
And when that moment comes, we hope you'll share it with us.
Yes, please tell us your stories. We want to hear about your breakthrough moments, your funny mistakes, your lost tourist moments that became your greatest teachers.
Because that's what this community is all about. We're all learning together, growing together, supporting each other.
All right, my friends, we're at the end of our episode today. But before we go, we need to remind you one more time.
If you loved this episode, if it resonated with you, if you found it helpful, please subscribe to Talk, Learn, Teach.
Click that subscribe button right now. It's the best way to support us and make sure you don't miss any of our future episodes.
And share this channel with your friends. If you know someone who's learning English, someone who needs encouragement, someone who would benefit from hearing these stories, send them this episode.
We want to hear from you in the comments. Tell us about your lost tourist moment. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to communicate in a language you barely knew? What happened? What did you learn?
Or maybe you have questions for us. Maybe there's a topic you want us to cover in a future episode. Let us know in the comments below.
We read every single comment, and your feedback helps us create content that serves you better.
And remember, your story matters, your journey matters, your voice matters. Don't hide it, don't wait. Start speaking, start sharing, start connecting.
The world needs to hear what you have to say. Yes, even with imperfect English. Yes, even with mistakes. Yes, even if you're scared.
Especially if you're scared, because that's when the magic happens.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. Marcus, this was wonderful.
It really was, Monica. And to everyone listening, keep learning, keep growing, keep believing in yourself.
Until next time, this is Monica
And Marcus.
from Talk, Learn, Teach, reminding you that your English journey is beautiful, messy, and absolutely worth it. Take care, everyone.
We'll see you in the next episode. Keep shining.